Welcome to this tutorial on the Mario Kart 64 Rainbow Road Red Shell Skip. This is of course a shortcut that is extremely important for all cup skip speedruns. I'm making this tutorial because when I was trying to learn new strats to improve my own speedrun time, I was shocked to find out that there didn't seem to be any video tutorials on this shortcut. So I messed around with it myself for a little bit and realized that it actually wasn't all too hard of a shortcut if I could find a consistent setup. And so, after many hours of practicing, I was able to come up with my own setup and inputs that now have me to the point where I can make this shortcut 99 out of 100 times. And since there is no other tutorial, it seems, I'd like to share my method. The way I set up the shortcut really values consistency. It's not the absolute speediest way of doing it that you're going to see on the world record level. But the thing you need most at the end of such a wild speedrun is just something consistent that you know is going to work. So if you're just learning this shortcut for the first time, follow this tutorial exactly how I do it. Just take the extra few seconds to make sure you have your setup right, and it's gonna save 2+ minutes over the alternative, which is the half lap skip shortcut, depending on RNG, of course. But yeah, let's get into it. So honestly, one of my favorite things about this shortcut is how intuitive it is. I'm going to give you a quick lesson on what makes the shortcut function. How does it work? And after I tell you this, it'll make you recognize your fails every time. It's one of those shortcuts, once I tell you this, you're going to know exactly what you did wrong, why you failed, why the shortcut didn't work. You're not going to be left puzzled scratching your head. So imagine, the finish line here, you see there's 4 checkers going this way, and right in the middle of those 2 sets of checkers, if you were to draw a line there, splitting the checkers in half, that's where the finish line runs. And so I've highlighted that in yellow here. That's where the finish line is. And so how the shortcut works is you might think, oh, if I just hit the red shell and go flying into the air, into the abyss somewhere, yay, I make the shortcut. But no, that's not how it works. You can hit the red shell and still fail the shortcut. So here are the 2 ways you can fail a shortcut, even by hitting the red shell. Number 1 is that you go flying off and you never cross the finish line plane. Number 2 is that you cross the finish line plane while you're still on the track, and then the red shell hits you, and you go flying off. So the key for this shortcut is you need to make sure that you hit the red shell while still behind the finish line. And then once you're in the air, then you need to cross over the finish line. If you don't cross over it at all, shortcut's not going to work. If you cross over the finish line while still on the ground and then get hit off, again, it's not going to work. And so that's what you need to know. Those are the 2 ways that you can fail. And so now that you know that, my explaining for why I do everything the way I do with my setup and inputs is going to make a ton of sense. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I align for the shortcut. This is the setup part of it. So obviously at the beginning of the race, you're going to have to go backwards to the item box set. It's somewhere back there. And hopefully you pull triple red shells pretty quick. The RNG can be brutal. And then once you get that, drive up to close to the finish line, put on the brakes, and we're going to use the checkers on the finish line in order to line up here. And so if you look at the finish line, it alternates white, black, and so on. And so what you want to do is, if we're looking at the left side, go 1, 2, 3 white checkers to the left. If you just look at the white checkers on the first row, It's 1, 2, 3. This third, it's behind Yoshi's head right now. If I go here, this third white checker on the left, this is the column that you want to align with. And so here I come to a stop, and I'm not pressing the gas, I'm not pressing the A button here. I'm just hopping while pressing right on my control stick. And what I want to do here is, let me rewind that. I want to line up my back wheels right with this column. So you can see here my back wheels are a little bit behind, because again, this one, this white checker, that's the column where I want to be. And so sometimes you'll be, you know, a little in front and you'll have to back up. In this case, I'm a little bit behind it, and so I need to pull forward a bit. So I want to align the back tire right with this line. And so you see I'm going to pull forward a tiny bit, and now you see I'm perfectly in line with this column. And so now I'm going to keep hopping to the right. And now I want to get myself so that pretty much the front tire is also in line with this. And so I'm going to get myself straight with this column. Here you can actually see I'm not straight. I'm a little veered to the right, so I'm going to make an adjustment here. You can see I made a little turn to the left right there just to adjust myself, and now you can see, look at this. I'm pretty much perfectly aligned with this checker right here. Perfectly aligned. And the reason you want to align with, I found it to work with this checker, is if you're all the way over here, when you do your AB spin, you're probably going to crash into the guardrail and the red shell is going to go behind you. If you're too far over here, if we were to align on like this checker, then you wouldn't reach the red shell in time. The red shell would go zipping past and you'd be too late. So this is what I found to be the perfect place to line up in order to hit the red shell, be the perfect distance away from it. This shortcut's not pixel perfect or anything, okay? You don't have to be like totally in line with this checker, and you can still make it work. But again, I just recommend taking the extra 2 seconds to just perfectly align yourself with it, because that's going to build consistency. If you line up in the same place every time, like I'm doing here, you're just naturally going to get better at it, because you're starting from the same spot every time. And so that eliminates an independent variable, because now you're just focusing on your inputs and not where you aligned. And so once I've aligned with this column, now I'm going to drive forward a little bit. And what I like to do is get it so that this finish line is just barely in my sight. So what I mean, I drive forward and you can see the finish line. Oh, I drive forward and the finish line is just barely. I get it so that it's just barely peeking out, like on the bottom of my screen. Again, the shortcut's not super precise. You can be a little farther back, have a tiny bit more finish line showing on your screen. You can also drive forward a little more and have the finish line completely hidden. As long as you know you're just barely past it, that's fine. But what I like to do is, again, for consistency's sake, just make sure that I'm aligned so that the finish line is just barely peeking onto the bottom of my screen is what I like. And my reasoning for this is I noticed a lot of people, when they line up for the shortcut, they actually line up like right on the finish line. Like when they throw the red shell, like they're right here, like on the finish line even. And I found that just causes issues because, again, one of the ways you can fail the shortcut is if you cross the finish line while still on the ground before the red shell hits you. And by aligning super tightly, super closely to the finish line, you're very likely to accidentally cross over the finish line. If you just put a little too much in your AB spin, which we'll go over that later, by the way, you're gonna cross over the finish line. So I like to distance myself. I go far enough away so that the finish line is still close enough to me where I'm not gonna have an issue with going too far right and not crossing the finish line at all. but I go far enough away from the finish line to ensure that the red shell is going to hit me before I get there, and then I'm going to cross over the finish line while I'm in the air. So it's just about getting the sweet spot. This is the sweet spot where it's you're not going to risk either fail. Honestly, I think this going to this spot works brilliantly. Okay, and then once you've gotten this alignment, there's just one more part in the setup. And once again, I'm hopping without pressing the gas button. And what I want to do here is angle myself. Angling yourself is the last part of this. And what you want to do is if you take the left side of Yoshi's head right here and just draw an imaginary line using the left side of his head, you want to make it so that that imaginary line would go just to the right of this guardrail. This guardrail over here, if you draw an imaginary line with the left of Yoshi's head, see how it's just to the right of that guardrail? That's what you want to do. Again, it's not a super precise shortcut. You can get away with being a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, but the reasoning for this angle, why I like doing this, is I found if you have his head like right on the guardrail, the red shell rebounds quicker then, and so the red shell is probably going to go too quick, and there's a higher chance that you miss it. The red shell is going to go by, and then you're going to go by after it. If you're not angled enough, if you're too straight, like all the way out here, then you're going to miss the red shell because it's going to go behind you. You're going to turn around, but the red shell is going to be all the way out here. So you're going to turn around, and the red shell is just going to go right behind you. And so I think this is the perfect spot where the red shell is going to go in a good spot on the road where it's going to be right where you are. And it's gonna bang, it's gonna hit you. And if you do, I just recommend taking the extra second to align this. But if you do happen to align a little too far to the left, like on this guardrail, it's savable. You just need to do your A/B spin a little bit faster in order to reach the red shell in time. And then it's just the opposite thing. If you're aligned too straight, and obviously the red shell is going to come more over here, you just need to time your A/B spin later, so that you still hit it, since it's gonna be over here instead of over here. So you need to go later, because if you turn too much, it's gonna go behind you. And by the way, you can see what I mean by the alignment doesn't have to be super precise. You can see in this clip, Yoshi's head is more towards the guardrail here, so I just like to point this out. This is a different clip than I was using before. And you can see his head is almost touching the guardrail. Again, that's fine. Alignment's not super precise, as long as it's in this general area. But anyway, once you throw the red shell, the hardest part, because there's just such a chance for difference between attempts, is timing. You can't, it's impossible to almost to have the same exact timing every time. It's just, being a human. But my biggest tip for this timing is that you need to treat the red shell throw and the A/B spin as two separate actions. You need, just watch it right here. I throw and then I spin. Notice how I don't do it as one fluid motion. I'm not throwing and then immediately spinning. You need to have a patience almost. Not too patient. If you wait a little too long, the red shell is going to zip by you and you're going to miss it. But if you're too quick, if you try to A/B spin the second or the millisecond rather that you throw the red shell, you're gonna miss it because you're gonna be too quick for it and it's gonna go behind you. So again, treat this as two separate actions. I want you to really watch here. And again, this is the hardest part. I know it seems simple, but notice how I throw the red shell and then I spin. Notice the little pause I do. Did you see that? Like it's not throw, spin. Like, I'm not immediately spinning. It's two separate actions. You need you need to you need to drill that into your brain, because that was the hardest part for me to get down, was to be like, okay, I throw the red shell, then I AB spin. Don't do it at the same time. Again, I'm gonna make you watch it again. Look at the little pause I do after I throw the red shell. Then I spin. So that's my advice for timing the AB spin. So now I'm gonna show you in actual synced up recording footage of what inputs I'm doing with my controller when I do this skip. So after you've thrown the shell and you buffer, wait just a second to do your AB spin. The thing about the AB spin is it can't be too much of an AB spin. The AB spin needs to be very gentle, is how I'd put it. Because an AB spin turns you around really fast, and in this case, we're only trying to turn at a 90-degree angle, pretty much. We're not. You can very easily do a 180 with an AB spin. So if we're only trying to do 90, you need to make sure it's a very gentle AB spin. You're not holding down the B button for too long. So once you throw this red shell, and wait a second, I'm just pressing B for just, I'm pressing A and B together, so I throw, and then I hold left, so I do this all at the same time. I flick left, I'm holding left, and I press down on A and B. That's all happening at the same time. But don't keep down on B for too long. It needs to be very gentle, and the reason I say that is because if you hold down on B too long, your AB spin, if you do end up going more towards a 180 degree angle, you're going to end up way over here. You're either not going to hit the red shell, or most likely you're going to cross over the finish line too early. And we know that's one of the two no-nos of trying to make this shortcut. You cannot cross over the finish line while still on the ground. And if you AB spin too much, if you put a little too much oomph into that AB spin, you're going to end up crossing the finish line. And so it doesn't take much. Just very light AB spin can get you places. So I'm only holding down on B for a little bit, and we can probably see here. Yeah, look at how quickly I release B. So again, like my finger's not on B, or my thumb's not on B, and then right here it presses B. I'm on B for like a few frames, and then I'm off. I'm off B. Now make sure you keep holding A. If you don't keep holding A, you're going to have a really frustrating fail happen where Yoshi just doesn't keep moving forward, and the shell's going to zip by you because you're going to be back here not moving at a fast enough speed. So make sure you only take your thumb off of the brake, but keep it on the gas. And now I'm just gonna let you watch this first, because what I do next is really interesting, and this is one of the last things that I found in finding my way of doing this shortcut that made this method like almost 100% consistency. This, what I'm about to show you, is what made me go from 90% to 99.9%. So I'm gonna let you watch it first, and you're gonna see something very interesting I do with the controller here. Alright, did you catch that? Notice what I'm doing to the control stick. I'm just flicking. I'm flicking from center to left. Look. Left, 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 left. Not like insanely fast. I'm just kind of tapping. I'm just tapping left over and over. Tap, 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 tap. Pretty much I start tapping as soon as I release the brake. So as soon as I finish that very gentle AB spin, and I release the brake, if I can, yeah, then you can see as soon as I release the brake, I let go of the stick, because I'm tapping now. And now I tap right, back to center, left. And I do that a few times, again. Tap, 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 tap. And I think the reason that this works so well is because if you just try to hold the stick left in order to get, you're just relying on yourself getting the perfect angle, and that's not gonna happen 10% of the time. It's just not gonna happen. And by doing this tapping, you're making it so much more consistent because now you're doing the same thing every time. There can be a little bit of variance if you're just holding left once just to try to get the perfect angle to try and angle yourself perfectly. If you're just holding left, you might angle a little too far and cross the finish line before the shell hits you. Or you might not hold left enough, and then you're gonna miss the finish, going over the finish line entirely. And so this tapping seems to make it's very fascinating. It makes it super consistent that you're not risking, I mean, look how far away I am here. I'm not at all risking crossing over the finish line because I didn't like hold left for too long. But I'm also, by doing the tapping, I'm giving enough left inputs that I'm also not really even close to failing the shortcut. Like, yes, you can have shortcuts that, like, could I have been a little bit farther left here? Yes, I could have. But as long as you just grace this pull, the lap counts. Like, in this case, like, I'm completely, like, look, I can put, like, a few mouse lengths between the pull and Yoshi right here. I've seen ones where Yoshi's, like, over here, and this tire is just, like, barely hitting the pull, and it, like, counts the lap. So, don't be mistaken, this is making it by quite a lot. It's just the tap, 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 tap left on the control stick just it guarantees that you're not gonna make a misinput and veer off too far left or go too straight. And so I definitely recommend doing the tapping. And then it looks like I hold left for a little bit. Once the red shell hits me, I'm holding left until Yoshi stops moving to the left, then I release. But wait, there's more, because if you just do that and you think the shortcut is over, you're never going to make it, because there's one more thing that you got to do, and it is by far the easiest part of the shortcut. It might as well be your victory lap. So you need to switch into progress view here, where it shows like where you are in relation to all the other characters. And then while Yoshi is falling down, see how this Yoshi is bouncing around up here, and he's up in this top left corner? You're going to see him jump over to the right side. Right there. See how Yoshi is now? He just jumps all of a sudden to the right side. As soon as Yoshi jumps on this progress view to the right side, you just need to put the thing in reverse. Press B and hold back on the control stick, and that'll put you into reverse. You can see Yoshi kind of, when you do that, the vehicle kind of shifts back a little bit, you'll see. And so I'm reversing until Lakitu picks you up. As soon as you get caught in the out of balance, you can stop reversing. And that's it. That's the shortcut. And if you make it properly on lap 1, the progress view, this rectangle, should switch to blue. If you make it lap 2, you should see it switch to yellow. Let's see if I can get there. Actually, yeah, yellow. If you make it again, the progress view is going to switch to yellow. And then obviously if you make it lap 3, you don't even need the no, because you should just cross the finish line and either you finish the race or you don't. That's how you know you did it. I guess one more thing is that I should actually explain how you're going to do it after you've been respawned. So Lakitu is going to respawn you somewhere around the finish line here, and then I just do the thing again where I hop without pressing the gas button. And I just hop until I'm parallel about with the finish line. Doesn't really matter. The point is I'm just going to back up 2 white squares, basically, to get to this third white square. That's our good friend. So you can see, so if you hop here, you want to go to this white square right here. So if you just think about it as from the white square you're on, if you just go 1, 2 white squares back, bang. And I lied, there's actually one more thing I should mention, and that's that you can do the shortcut with a blue shell. So let's say you're unfortunately in the situation where you miss one of the red shells. That's alright. If you have a blue shell as backup, that's awfully convenient because the shortcut works basically the exact same way. I think the only thing that's different is the blue shell takes a little longer to deploy when you throw it. So you just need to be even a little more patient on your AB spin. So here's what it looks like. You can see the blue shell, see how it just kind of, it hangs out for a second before it launches. So just wait a fraction of a second longer to do the AB spin than you usually would. But that's it. That's the Rainbow Road Red Shell skip tutorial. If you have any questions, definitely ask in the comments. I'll try to help out. And may the RNG be with you. I hope that the item box gives you triple reds on your first try. So, thank you for watching. Peace.